Right, Congressman Devin Nunes was one of Trump's staunchest defenders during the first impeachment trial. He also serves as the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. Sir, thanks for coming on. Good to see you.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Just your thoughts on the trial so far.
Well, it's a little bit like deja vu, Groundhog Day. It's what I've been seeing for the last 5 years. I mean, we were just doing this a year ago. I'm really disappointed in some of the Republicans who are even considering this to be serious, especially what is really, I refer to them as the B team of House members that are there today. Probably that's even way too gracious. They're much worse than that. These are characters that have actually brought a lot of hate, a lot of venom, attacks on myself relentlessly over 5 years, my family, other members of my committee, including Senator McConnell himself. And so you ask me, I don't know what McConnell's going to do, but I think it would be probably career-ending if he did vote to convict. I think it would be really, really destructive.
Do you agree that the old guard would like to find a way to get rid of Trump, though?
Well, it depends on what you consider the old guard, right? I mean, if you look at the numbers, well over 90% of the Republicans support Donald Trump. It's the highest any Republican has ever been. So he's really the most popular Republican we've seen, likely since Ronald Reagan. So no matter how much so who it is that wants to get rid of him, it would have to be truly people that are DC insiders that are in that Beltway or in Manhattan or have been a country club, because when you get out to the rest of America, you just don't find that. And there could be. I always look at it this way. The media likes to say, "Oh, it's all these MAGA people," and it's a small group. Look, it's not. I look at my district. The people that support Donald Trump, and look, I'll be honest with you, they don't always like the way that he says something. They don't always like the way that he tweets. But the bottom line is this: he got things done like we have not seen in a long time. Yeah. And he did it across the board for every sector of the economy. He was a man of action, and with flaws. But I laugh at all the people that are throwing stones, because no man is perfect, including me, including you, Rob. Yeah. And this is just over the top. They never accepted Donald Trump's election. And that's really what we're dealing with here. So hopefully McConnell and the others will see that, okay, look, we don't want to completely destroy the Republican Party, because that's what they would do. Yeah.
You make a good point, though. I mean, in places, you're from California, we're in New York. I mean, you get people all the time that support the president. They just do it in a weird way. They whisper it. They don't go outside and bang on a drum and scream it. They say, "Oh, you work at Newsmax, or who you work here? Yeah, I love Trump." They just don't like to talk about it.
And why do they do that? Why do people whisper like that? It's because they're afraid. Yeah. They're afraid of the very violence and the attacks that this freak show is presenting from the House members into the U.S. Senate. It's a total freak show. And that's why people whisper. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've actually remember the last time I was in New York, I had a couple, and I have to be very careful when I'm in New York, as you can imagine. Yeah. And thank God, that's the only good thing about this virus is I actually haven't had to go there, like I normally would have to do. No offense, I'm sorry.
No, trust me, I get it.
But I had exactly what you're talking about. Cab drivers, people working at the hotels, they come up to me and say, "Oh man, we really appreciate what you're doing." Sure. And but say, "We can't say it too loud. We don't want to be fired."
Yeah. Oh,
that's what's happening.
Yeah. And they want you to think it's just like living in another country where they want you to think that everybody supports the regime when half the people clearly don't. Eric Swalwell today, getting back to impeachment here for a second. Let's take a listen to Swalwell.
He built this mob over many months with repeated messaging until they believed that they had been robbed of their vote, and they would do anything to stop the certification.
All right. So, I mean, the rhetoric on this thing, I mean, and you heard Ted Lieu before as well, another California guy. I mean, they've amped it up big time. Basically, this is, the president was starting a war. What do you think of the words?
Well, first of all, their words for 5 years have been outrageous and unacceptable, and really completely lacked any decorum. But I would just say focus on the evidence. Let's go back and look at all the nutty stuff that they've said. So they want to criticize Trump for bringing people to the Capitol, which he has a right to, or I should say, not the Capitol, I got to be precise here, to the Washington Mall to have a rally, which was properly permitted. He has a right to do that. Okay. Now, look, would I have done it? No. I don't, I thought it was wrong to do that rally that day. But look, he had every right to do it. And the fact that all of these characters are criticizing him for something that he had the right to do. Let's go back and take all of those guys and what they've said over the last 5 years.
Sure.
You would find it very difficult to prove true any of the conspiracy theories that they have floated, not just about Donald Trump, but about House Intelligence Committee Republicans and many others.
Right. It is interesting. Do you think the president, Donald Trump, I should say, is like a drug for the left? Is it something that they need?
Well, they like chaos. So remember, the left has been radicalized in this country. So whatever they accuse you of doing, they're the ones who have actually done it. So there were riots, there were mobs, there were people being murdered, they were calling to defund the police. And what happened on January 6th with the breaking of the Capitol and breaking into the Capitol, breaking of windows, and the unfortunate deaths, it allowed them to seize on that to cover up for everything that they had been doing. And look, they've even admitted it. So I don't normally promote fake news companies, okay? But Time Magazine had a very interesting article this past week that essentially talked about how they built the system to essentially develop fake news narratives and go after anyone and everyone who is supporting President Trump. Yep. And now they're not even stopping there. Now it's all about that they're going to have to de-radicalize all these people. So they're upping the ante and they're poisoning the minds of the American people. And I'll just I'll close with this. It's pretty simple. 95% of the content in this country that's developed on the news side is left wing. Yeah. And it's getting very little that's even mainstream or even conservative. It's very, very little. But when you plug that information, and this is what I've been trying to tell people now for a couple of years, when you plug that information through the tech companies, okay, it becomes 99.9% of the information that's being fed directly into the eyes, into these phones right here. Exactly. It's poisoning the American people. And it's really tough to get over that. And I think that's what's going to have to be done between now and 2022 if we're going to, and I don't even mean to elect Republicans. Sure. I just mean to get the American people to understand the truth. Yeah. Like when they see Governor Newsom, not going out to eat, not wearing a mask with lobbyists when that pandemic was skyrocketing, or what we just found out last week, where now this new issue of Republican members having to go through magnetometers and get metal detectors and wand it down just to enter the House floor. Well, Speaker Nancy Pelosi doesn't do that. Okay. And by the way, this isn't the first time. What happened 7 months ago when none of us could get haircuts? Yeah. She was getting her hair done in San Francisco.
It is. It really is staggering. You make so many great points, especially about the media and people just don't even realize it. You're getting the Democrat side of everything, and even if you're not even trying to, just what you consume has a spin on it already. You can't even choose anymore what you want to read. I want to finish off with this real quick, talking about that on the same topic. Twitter, you had a bit of a run-in. You got suspended, and then I guess they let you off the hook. What exactly happened here?
Well, look, like everything with Twitter, it's just a sewer, and we don't really know. This is not the first time that this has happened. If you remember, myself and a few other conservatives in the House several years ago were being shadow banned. So, look, I've been at war with these guys. I have them in court right now, and I've been trying to warn the American people about the corruption of these tech companies. So, if you're on Twitter or if you're on Facebook or if you're using Google, you're just contributing to that 95% of the content that's being slammed and poisoned into the American people. Right. So my advice is, stay out of the sewer. So the funny thing is, I don't know, some woke genius that was building an algorithm, smoking dope from home, because I think they all work from home now, thought it would be funny to build an algorithm that would kick Devin Nunes off. But the joke's really on them because I don't use Twitter anymore. And the only time I do go on Twitter is to tell people to get off of Twitter. Yeah. More power to you. What a story. All right. Congressman Nunes, thank you so much for the time. Rob, thank you. Thanks for